Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here. Hope you guys are having a great night. Yes, kind of a last-minute little stream here because I'm doing my 10-hour marathon fundraiser tomorrow. We've got a whole bunch of guests ready to go, and I just wanted to kind of do a little stream to hype that up, remind everybody about it. Share with you guys the guest list and all that stuff. Of course, if you follow me on social media, you can find all of that stuff on there as well. I've already shared a little bit, and I will be sharing some more as well. So I just wanted to jump on here and talk about that, and also, talk about some news with you guys and just kind of shoot the shit a little bit with you. I didn't mean to do that, but we'll talk about that pretty soon. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Okay, cool. Here we go. I'm going to say what's up to everybody really quick before we really get cooking. But yeah, guys, tomorrow is going to be an absolute blast. After this stream, I'm going to run up to the grocery store and I'm going to get some food because I'm going to be live for 10 hours. So, I'm going to have to make sure I can be fed and all that kind of fun stuff. And then the rest of the evening, I'll just be kind of setting up and getting ready for that. But it's going to be 1 p.m. Eastern to 10 or about 11 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, 10 hours there. So that first hour is just going to be kind of me hanging out with everybody, getting everything cooking. And then after our first hour, we're going to have our very first guest on. So I'm going to jump in and say what's up to you guys. We'll have a quick chat about all of that. And then we're going to get into some news because I tell you what, after I made the thumbnail and the stream and everything like that, I saw a little bit of Terrifier 4 news and I'm like, well, that probably would have been better on the thumbnail and in the title of the stream. But whatever, I know you guys are going to show up no matter what because you all are awesome. And then, of course, I like to cut up these news stories anyways. So the Terrifier stuff, yeah, we'll see if it gets some traction after the fact. We've got Ashton Luck in the house. What's happening, Ashton? Great to see you. Chester Franklin Jr. What's happening, Chester? Lamontre Gillard. How are you doing, Lamontre? Adrian James. What's shaking, Adrian? Good to see you. We got Paula Fitzhenry, one of our great channel members. How are you doing, Paula? We got Antonis Andriotis. What's happening, Antonis? How's it going? We got Jigsaw in the house. How are you doing, Jiggity Jigsaw? Oh, look at that. We've got Erica, our Death Squad mod, and our Queen mod over on the Discord, which is really friggin' fun. I love the Discord. If I'm feeling crazy tonight, maybe I'll stream a movie on there while I'm putting together some other stuff for the stream. But you never know what happens on, or what's gonna happen on Discord, but it's a great way to keep in touch with everyone. It's a great way to, shoot the shit, talk shit, share memes, share music, all that kind of fun stuff. Great to see you, Erica. Thanks for joining us. We got Robert the Wolfman. Ow, ow. How are you doing, Robert? So good to see you. Robert, last night I watched DNN again, and then watched the all the little behind the scenes thing from Mad Monster, and it was wild to see. It was funny to go back and see everyone from the horror show channel and be like, oh, that was like, a couple months before I met you, Robert, because I think I met you at Gathering of the Ghouls, like officially, and Cecil as well. But it was just cool to see all you guys and be like, oh, now that's me hanging out at the table with these guys. And the next time they make a movie, like, I hope I can be a part of it. So really cool. Thanks for joining us, Robert. Robert's a channel member as well as a Death Squad mod. So how about that? We got Blu-ray Addict in the house. How you doing, Blue? We got Dean Renner. What's happening, Dino? One of our Patreon members, channel members, and Death Squad mods, the triple threat Dean Renner. Oh, we've got the lovely Miss Brooke Scarlett. How are you doing, Brooke? Yes, stab that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share the channel. If you're watching this after the fact, please hype it up. We need all the hype we can get because, guys, we are marching along to the road to 2,000 subs. Right now, we are at 1,830, right on the dot. So we're still doing great. And we'll see. Maybe tomorrow we'll bring some new eyes and some new subscribers. That would be great. And the main goal of tomorrow is to raise a bunch of money for the food bank. So, if we can pick up a little, some side action, then why the heck not? I don't know why I called it side action. It's kind of side action, right? Brooke, I know Brooke was probably about as heartbroken as I was over the candy tier maker. I'm gonna try not to cry or get too emotional. But you guys put now and later's very low. It broke my heart. Junior mints were in the bottom rung, the bottom, with like an apple and raisins. So I don't know. Like, I don't even know what to think. I thought this world still had kind people in it, but I just don't know. And then, the big one that upset me, and I did find myself kind of getting, screaming at the wall about it later on last night. What the hell did bubblegum do to you guys? Like, all of the people that voted to put bubblegum in the very bottom, like, I get it. Maybe you don't love bubblegum. Maybe you just hate the bubblegum flavor. I have no idea. But the bubble tape, the double bubble, and whatever the other kind of bubblegum was, there were 3 different kinds of bubblegum. They were all at the bottom of the list. Like, bubblegum is just like delicious and awesome. And then when the flavor runs out, you just take it out of your mouth. What did bubblegum do to you people? I almost said do to you people. What the fuck did bubblegum do to you people? I need to know. Yeah. Anyways, I know it's total side things. Somebody's probably watching this on the replay after the fact, and they're like, the hell is this guy talking about? Yeah, guys, I go on tangents all the time. I yap quite a bit as well. So I'm going to let it go there, but I know that Erica, I know Erica is probably the one that's really stirring the shit. I know that Brooke was with me there, and Brooke also wanted Charleston Chews on the list. I also wanted Charleston Chew. Giant Charleston Chew fan. Look at that. We got Stephanie Hinkle in the house. How you doing, Stephanie? So great to see you. Davey James, one of our great channel members. What's happening, Davey? And I don't even think I said this about Brooke, but she's obviously a moderator. You can see the wrench there, and she is a channel member as well. Let's see, who else do we have in here? We got Ray in the house. Sup, Death Tards. We call ourselves the Death Squad, or I think it, correct me if I'm wrong, is it Eli that came up with the name Death Squad? If there's anyone in the house that can remember, because guys, I started going live when I think there were like 300 subs, like in between 300 and 400. And I was like, you know what? I want to give this live thing a shot. I just want to see how comfortable I am. And it turned out it was what I was most comfortable doing. So how about that? Let's see here. Who else do we have in the house? We've got Amanda Mendoza, aka Trashbox Mandy. What's happening, Trashbox Mandy? How you doing? Let's see here. There you go. Erica's sharing the Discord. I almost the Discord link. Thank you so much, Erica. Appreciate you. We got Jamie Hart, the OG Death Squad mod, our mama mod, and a YouTube channel member. How are you doing, Jamie? So good to see you. What, a stream without you or a Discord thing without you? I would never do that without you, unless you're referring to somebody else or some other thing entirely. Fair enough. Let's see. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody else that is coming into the chat. It doesn't look like I am. Oh, there we go. We are all caught up. Heck yeah, guys. Okay, so I'm going to run through a couple things for the quick housekeeping. You guys already know. Erica shared the link. Join the Discord if you haven't already. It's free. It's awesome. It totally kicks ass. If you're a channel member or a Patreon, there's a code for 15% off the shop. I'm probably just going to keep that going for Patreons and channel members, but we're going to have, once spooky season is over, some of those items are going to be tucked away until next spooky season. But don't worry, guys. We're going to have some fun Thanksgiving stuff and some fun Christmas stuff as well. I am also an affiliate for the In Search of Darkness 1995 to 1999 documentary from Creator VC. They put together some really awesome, epic 4-hour documentaries. It's just incredible. So if you're I know you're a big horror nerd, but if you are the kind of horror nerd that likes to get some behind the scenes, some added insight, or you just like listening to people talk about horror, kind of like what we do here, In Search of Darkness is perfect for you. There is my affiliate link is down in the description below. And if you end up purchasing with my link, it helps out the channel. So I get a little 20% little kickback on it, which is nice. And then, yes, guys, the big thing, the 10-hour marathon, that is tomorrow. We're raising funds for the St. Mary's Food Bank. So what I'm going to do is do that. And then there we go. I don't know why it automatically puts it in this format that I don't like. This is the format that I like. Can you just learn that, StreamYard? So yeah, we've got our own little custom link. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually drop this into the let me start that poll that I didn't start. I'm a professional, people. So if you want to donate early, you totally can. There's nothing that, you know, keeps you from jumping on there right now. I pinned the link to the donation site in the chat. And you know what we're going to do tomorrow for the fundraiser stream. It's going to be 10 hours long. There's going to be a whole shitload of guests. I'll show you the guest list here and basically just the schedule to break it on down. We're going to be raising money for the St. Mary's Food Bank, which is here in the Phoenix area. They are not affiliated with the church. They have that name because a church donated a building and $3,000 to them back in 1967 when they started their charity foundation. And as far as what I can tell from the interwebs, they are the very first food bank in the world. How about that? So they take care of families. There's no discrimination or anything. You know, it's just taking care of people that have food insecurity and need some damn meals. So the really cool thing about what they do at St. Mary's, every dollar that's donated provides 5 meals, guys. So I understand, like, not everyone's in a position to, you know, do the stuff like super chats or a channel membership or whatever. But man, if you could just donate $1 on the stream tomorrow to the donation page, that would be so awesome. Just $1. I'm going to be doing these charity fundraisers twice a year. Once the channel grows even more, we're going to increase the frequency of those. I just don't want to burn everyone out on them. But man, if twice a year you could find it in your heart just to give as little as $1, it can provide 5 meals, which is huge. So, you know, we don't really talk like politics or whatever, yada, yada, yada on the channel here. But, you know, like, no matter what your persuasion is or what kind of person you are or what you believe, I think that it's great when you can help out those who are in need. So, you know, it's spooky season. We're a bunch of horror kids, and let's do something nice for folks to celebrate spooky season, and also just you know, give a helping hand to the folks who could really use it. So anyways, I'm just kind of blah blahing at this point, but the link is pinned in the chat if you want to donate early. They've put together this really cool site for us, which is pretty awesome. So we're going to be able to live track all the donations here. It looks like they set a goal for us for $2,000. So that would be incredible to reach that amount. I don't expect to do that, but I'll be very, very happy just to be able to see what kind of impact we can have and how many families and how many people we can help. So really cool of the St. Mary's Food Bank folks. Thank you so much to Sabrina from St. Mary's, who put together this custom site for us, which is really awesome. But guys, not only did they put together a custom site, they also gave us this QR code. So if you're watching this, you know, even after the fact, and they're going to keep the donation site open. So even if you're seeing this stream on Saturday or Sunday or something like that, you can still scan this QR code. It will take you to that website, and you can donate to St. Mary's Food Bank through this QR code. And also, if you're part of the Discord, I believe I've shared it in the Discord. I can share it again. That way, if any of you guys, you know, maybe you're in a spot where you're like, I can't donate $1. I really wish I could, but stuff is really tough, or whatever you've got going on, you know, that's totally valid. If you could share the QR code and just share what we're doing, that would be amazing too. Just if we can bring, you know, some more eyes on this thing, that would be great. It's all about helping other people who could really use it. So there you go. That's all that. I'll talk more about that tomorrow during the stream, but I just wanted to kind of lay out the groundwork here a little bit. And then here's our awesome schedule. So the QR code's right up there as well. The QR code's going to be up on the screen all day tomorrow. So that way, you know, and I'm going to shut off super chats. So it's, you know, none of this money is going to me. It's all going, you know, you're going to be directed right to the donation site for St. Mary's. If I'm lucky enough to get 10,000 subscribers, you have to reach that 10,000 sub mark, and then you can do an actual like a Google sponsored, YouTube sponsored fundraiser. That's why we're not able to do that sort of thing. But the QR code and the custom donation site certainly help. So for the 10-hour movie talk marathon fundraiser schedule, all of these times are Eastern. At 2 p.m., we're going to have M from Horror Her. 3 p.m., we got Evan from Rockland Graves Productions. 4 p.m. is going to be our boys Kurt and Jenks from Twisted Locker across the pond. And then at 5 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have our guy Pizzowel on the channel. I've never had Piz on the channel before. I met him really quick at age 45. I actually just walked by and patted him on the shoulder and told him that I really liked what he was doing because he was talking to somebody. So it'll be great to have Piz on. Very first time talking to Piz. It'll be super cool. 6 p.m. Eastern, we have Cecil Laird from the Horror Show channel. My good guy Cecil is going to be jumping on with us. 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have Chris Stanley from Australia. Cosplay Chris. Oh my gosh. Chris is just, he's the friggin' man. It's been a while since we've had Chris on the channel. I'm very much looking forward to having Chris on. Not only is he like, you know, charming, funny, handsome, in fantastic shape, all that, you know, all the stuff that every guy wants to be. He's also a very talented artist. The stuff that he does with his hands, you know, all of the prop making and everything he sells on Etsy, the masks that he makes and these busts of these characters, they're just so beautiful and lifelike. And that, I would say that Chris has a lot of skills and very many talents. I think that the work that he does with his hands on his art is the most impressive and the most that's the stuff that really blows me away. And then on top of that, he's you know, charming and all of that other stuff, which is great. 8 p.m. is going to be Killjoy Jake. I love Jake and everything he does on his channel. He's a bit of a young cat, and he, you know, I'm such an old dude. I'm like old enough to be Jake's dad, technically. So, he keeps me feeling young. He keeps me you know, abreast of the situation as far as the Terrifiers and all the Scream talk goes and everything. So, Killjoy Jake, great guy. Be awesome to have him back on the channel. 9 p.m. Eastern, we have my guy Vincent DeSanti from Womp Stomp Films is going to be on, and he's got a new project in the works we're going to talk about a little bit. And Vin is a top-notch dude. Met him a couple years ago when I met Cecil and Robert the Wolfman and all those guys, and you know, I've become friends with all of these people. It's crazy. It's amazing, like what YouTube has done, not just the digital community, but the community that's actually right in front of your face. So it's wild. From 2 years ago in August, I went from being really nervous to interview Vin. I'd never met him before, and first time I'm meeting him, I'm interviewing him. And then now I think of him as like a buddy, and we've, you know, worked the table together and hung out together at multiple cons and all this fun stuff. And then to close things out, guys, 10 p.m. Eastern, we've got Cody Leach. That's right, Mr. plus subscribers here on YouTube. One of the best out there talking about movies and reviewing movies. Cody is ridiculously smart. You know, I met him a little over a year ago, and we talked and hung out all night. Rob, you were there. Little Tommy Boy reference, and just talked about everything under the sun. And I was like, fuck, this guy's really smart. Like, by comparison, I'm such a moron, and I'm smarter for having talked to him. So that's how we're going to close out our night. And just so to reiterate, guys, for every one of these guests, we're going to be talking about their favorite horror movies from each decade of their lives. So they're going to have to pick one movie from each decade. And then we might talk about a couple honorable mentions, but we're just going to be focusing on what they really love and how difficult it was to make those decisions. So there you go. That's the schedule. I'm going to share that on social media and all that stuff. But there you guys go. You can check it out right there. I know I'm totally behind on the chat and everything like that. And I know I've been blah, blah, blahing about a lot, but it's very important because this marathon is going to be a big ol' 10-hour fun fest. How about that? Holy cow, we got the Daily Ghost in the chat, one of our great channel members, and Death Squad mods. How are you doing, Daily Ghost? We got Illuminated Pro hanging out with us as well. What's happening, Illuminated? Hopefully, maybe I missed some other folks. Billy Judd is kicking it with us. There we go. Erica is sharing that link. Thank you so much, Erica. Yeah, Jamie, I'm very pumped on the guest list. And I do want to say this, guys, because I don't want there to be any hurt feelings or anything. There's so many people I've like worked with and collaborated with, and so many content creators that I love and adore and have great friendships with. The big reason why I'm bringing this set of guests on is a lot of these people, a couple of them have been on the channel recently, but a lot of them, it's a first time or it's been a while since I've collaborated with them. So some of the folks that I collaborate with a little bit more, I'm going to do this again at halfway to Halloween. So halfway to Halloween and right around Halloween, we're going to do these fundraisers. So if you're a buddy, if you're a friend of the channel, if you've got your own channel and you're a content creator, you want to take part in something like this, we'll find a spot for you. So I didn't, there was never any intention of excluding anybody because I feel any sort of way about them. I was just like, I want to kick this one off with a bang, and I want to bring on some people who, maybe I don't collaborate with as often. And I had to bring on Cecil because, guys, this was actually Cecil's idea. I'm sure we'll talk about that tomorrow when he's on 6 p.m. Eastern. And there's one other thing I wanted to share with you guys, and I totally forgot to do it. We're going to be doing a giveaway. So Eli Cortez has given me a whole, half a dozen of these digital download codes for, there we go. I'm going to do that. I think, nope, I have to do this and then I can do that. Okay, there we go. So Eli Cortez has given us a bunch of these digital download codes, and I figured, I was like, you know what, instead of being selfish and taking these all for myself, we're going to do one of these cool little spin wheel things. So right here, I've got everyone loaded up as like a channel member. So look at how many of those we got. It's super duper cool. And then as I see people filing into the chat tomorrow, I will just add them in. So you have to be in the chat to win a digital download code, but we're going to have a little fun. We're going to do some giveaways and stuff like that tomorrow. So there's going to be plenty of action going on. Plenty of action. What's happening, Saucy Jack's Boneyard? How you doing? How you doing? Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get into the news here, because I know some of you are probably like, what the heck? We got Destiny Faulkner in the house, one of our great Death Squad mods. Des, how did you do on the trivia? I had a work meeting, so I wasn't able to keep up on it. But everyone was assuming you would be the winner, so I'm curious to know. We got Corey from Wilkie's Movies and Music. What's happening, Corey? And guys, if it seems like I'm focused on like rushing and getting to the news, it's because somebody who's never watched another one of my videos, like the other week, commented on one of my horror news live streams, and he was like, dude, this whole thing is just a commercial. And I was like, well, yeah, the first 15 minutes I'm usually like talking about first 15 minutes I do like housekeeping, and I'm like, people show up to the live show, dude. They totally know what to expect this. I know you're new here, but I also cut up all the news stuff so you can watch it later. And he's just like, I shouldn't have to wait for 15 minutes. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys who don't mind that I blah, 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 sometimes aimlessly, although I try to be pretty pointed here. And again, just thank you so much for joining me. I know it's pretty late. We're, it's about midnight. We're coming up to midnight on the East Coast. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate every single one of you. And I extra appreciate the Patreon members, the YouTube channel members, and the Death Squad mods. Of course, you guys are fucking awesome. But every single one of you, you guys make the channel what it is. Really, I am just the MC here. You know what I mean? I just hold it down and kind of just like, steer the ship. But ain't no ship without no crew. So you guys are the crew. Let's see here. Yes, news cruise. Booyah. Destiny says Brad won because he bet his points and then got it right. Oh, so there was a Jeopardy ending. Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, that sounds cheap. I'm going to go ahead and just say that, let's rewrite history. Des won. See, Jamie says she did awesome at trivia. And Erica's saying hi to her, so I'm just going to say Des won. Yes. And holy cow, we got the Pumpkin King jumping on in. What's happening, Pumpkin King? So great to see ya. Pumpkin King says, hey, my bro, hope all is well your way, and drops a 99 super chat. Holy shit. Pumpkin King, you are amazing. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate the love. Yeah, it's been a hectic September and October, Pumpkin King. I'm sure you can relate. I would imagine you're pretty busy at work and all that kind of stuff. And I'm, training for a new job and studying for this exam, and then also just trying to do the YouTube thing as much as possible. And got this big 10-hour stream tomorrow to raise funds for the St. Mary's Food Bank. So we'll take some of this Pumpkin King money and throw it towards the donation pool tomorrow. How about that? Thank you so much, Pumpkin King. Really appreciate the $9.99er. I'm just going to leave that up there for a minute because it definitely deserves it. Stephanie Hinkle says Pumpkin King for the win. Yes. Is John Carpenter the Pumpkin King? I don't think so, but I don't know who the Pumpkin. Well, I've gotten an email from the Pumpkin King, so I guess I've got a little more information, but I'm going to keep everything anonymous. I don't want to upset any sort of kings, let alone a Pumpkin King. And you got to respect people's privacy, okay, guys, let's go ahead and check out some news here. Let's see what we got. Boom. Ooh, yes. Oh, yes. We got some shit to talk about, people. We sure do. There we go. Okay. All right. Here we go. So wait, really quick. I have a, what is it called? A poll in the chat. The poll asks, which A Christmas Carol are you looking forward to most? Because there's already been an announcement of Robert Eggers putting one together with Willem Dafoe. Guys, tonight we are going to talk about Ty West is putting one together with Johnny Depp. How about that? And then this one isn't happening. That's why it has asterisks all surrounding it. But how would you feel about Osgood, Perkins, and Nicolas Cage? I just think, I'm just like, all right, so Eggers gets one, West gets one. Let me be selfish because I love Oz Perkins. And I'm like, well, he's already worked with Nicolas Cage, in Longlegs. I'm like, Nick Cage would make a wild Ebenezer Scrooge. So that's the Davey pipe dream. It's not happening, but I'm curious to know if you guys would be more into that than what we're actually getting. And then we do have a super chat goal. Pumpkin King knocked out 1/5 of that. I mean, technically it could have been spread out across all 5, but guys, if we reach that super chat goal of 4 more super chats of $5 or more, I'll host a double feature public watch party on the Discord, and I'll let you guys choose the 2 movies. We could do Scream and Scary Movie. We could do Halloween and Halloween 2. We could do whatever. So I would basically put up a poll of some double features and have you guys vote on what you wanted. And of course, super chats are just for fun. So not required at all. But I'm going to have a sip of water and we're going to jump into this news. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Wow, we have 27 people watching right now between YouTube and Facebook. I just started streaming over to Facebook. If you're hanging out on Facebook, jump into the comments or into the live and let me know. I'm curious to know who's watching on Facebook. But I figured, why the heck not? I've got some classmates over there that I don't know if they're aware of the channel and all that, and I'm sure some of my classmates are like, this guy that tried to make everyone pay attention to him with his band in high school, and now he's talking on YouTube. This Davey guy just thinks he's the coolest. No, I just need a lot of validation. That's why I'm doing this. Pumpkin King says the Guy Pearce Scrooge, I'm guessing you're saying, one a few years back, has been my favorite since. Was a solid horror version of it. I don't know if I ever saw that one. It's almost black and white. It's like blue and black. I think that's the one. Yeah, I'm a huge Scrooged fan with Bill Murray. That's my guy. That is my guy. Oh no, I overdrafted my card and my sugar daddy's not answering because he's old and it's late. Yeah, old people, they do go to sleep early. Oh yeah, the one on FX. I remember the poster for it and everything. Yeah, for sure. Daily Ghost is dropping some pumpkins. Love seeing it. So I need to see this Guy Pearce. I do like Guy Pearce as a performer. I do like him quite a bit, so I need to check this one out. Jim Carrey's Scrooge is the best. I never saw that one either. We're going to talk a little Jim Carrey later on tonight because Miss Jamie Hart sent me a little something. Boom! Ray drops a Canadian $5 and says Scary Movie 1, Davey's favorite movie. Hugs and kisses. Hugs and kisses right back at you, Ray. Yeah, Scrooge is funny as hell. Thank you so much for the Fiverr, Ray. So guys, we're only 3 away from this double feature, and it sounds like Scary Movie 1 is in the running, and I don't know what else you guys would want as a double feature. But let's go ahead and get to the news. I've been talking for a half hour. You guys are so sweet. So sweet for hanging out and being patient. But let's go ahead and jump on into this news story here. One more sip of water. Do I have to burp? Okay, maybe I did. All right, guys. So this news dropped just earlier today. And, you know, Terrifier 4 is coming our way. It sounds like they must have been filming earlier this year. This film is slated to be released in 2026. And this article here by Alex DiVincenzo of Bloody Disgusting has a headline that reads, David Howard Thornton teases, quote, batshit insane finale to Terrifier 4. And we've got this great picture here of Art Claus, or Santa Art, or whatever. What do they call this guy? Art the Clown, obviously. But what do they call him when he's dressed as Santa? I don't know. You're gonna have to let me know. Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the comments. And speaking of which, if you're watching this after the fact, jump on into the comments. Just give me your thoughts on the Terrifier series, you know, on a whole. Like, how do you feel about this franchise? How did you feel about Terrifier 3? For me, it's my favorite of the bunch so far. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Terrifier 4? So let's go ahead and get into this article here, which starts out by saying, Art the Clown actor David Howard Thornton has provided an update on Terrifier 4, which is still in the scripting stage from writer-director Damien Leone. Quote, I'm very excited, but I don't know a whole lot because this time around, Damien has been keeping everything very close to his vest about what's happening in the script, Thornton tells Slasher Radio. He goes on to say, Lauren, Samantha, and I, in the past, when he's been writing the other scripts, he's been consulting us the whole entire time, running ideas by us. This time, he's pretty much been silent. He just goes, oh yeah, you're going to love the origin story, Dave. You're going to love how we do it. And he also said, the finale is batshit insane. You're going to have a lot of fun with that. Other than that, I don't know, but that makes me excited, end quote. So a whole lot to kind of digest there from, you know, what David Howard Thornton has to say. But interesting to know that in the previous films, or at least I'm guessing for 2 and 3, you know, the cast was kind of privy to the script. And like David says here, consulting us the whole entire time. So it's interesting that now he's kind of, you know, he's tucked himself away and he's like, I just got to write this, you know, what has been said is the finale. So let's go ahead and finish out the article here. Which says, will the 4th installment bring the franchise to an end? Thornton weighs in, quote, I feel like this might be the finale of this story arc that Damien's going with for right now, and might give it a rest for a few years and might return later on to it. I have no idea, but I'm excited nonetheless. And he adds, I have so much faith in him. And to finish out the article here, Leone previously said the script is shaping up to be the most epic, horrifying, thrilling, emotional, and satisfying conclusion to the Terrifier saga. He also confirmed Art's backstory will be revealed in the opening 15 minutes. So we've got some other stuff going on that they're talking about here. Of course, we have Fortnite. I'm way too old to really, you know, keep up with that kind of stuff. But apparently Art the Clown is available on Fortnite. There you go. And then the Terrifier, the arcade game, is coming out November 21st. That's more my speed because I am an old school gamer. So I'm more likely to play a beat 'em up with Art the Clown than any sort of Fortnite nonsense or anything like that. So yeah, guys, there's a whole interview here from, what is it, Slasher Radio? Yes, from Slasher Radio. So, you know, it's over an hour long. You guys can check that out if you would like. But I'm very, you know, I'm curious. Like, Terrifier is not really my cup of tea. I don't dislike the movies or anything like that, but I'm just, you know, I grew up in a totally different era. It's not that like the gore is solely what bugs me. I think it's more like the lingering and everything on the gore is just like not really my style, you know. But I will say this. I thought Terrifier 3 was really fun. I thought it was the most like fun-loving one of the bunch. So they kind of got me now. And with all the mystery and everything behind the characters, and I mean, particularly Art the Clown and everything like that. And, we got a little bit of breadcrumbs with Sienna's father and everything. I have an inkling that, he has something to do with Art, because it seems like he created this character, that he tells Sienna about in the third movie. You have a flashback where you see him explaining this character, and that's the person that she becomes in Terrifier 2. So it sort of explains why she has these kind of like superpowers in Terrifier 2 and going into Terrifier 3. So I'm like, man, does he have like some sort of supernatural power or some sort of witchcraft or whatever, and he's going to be responsible for Art the Clown? Very curious about all that, and especially with Art kind of just being relegated to like being a lackey of Victoria by the end of Terrifier 3. I found that kind of interesting. So, I would say after 3 movies, there haven't been many answers. So hopefully Terrifier 4 doesn't just feel like a vomiting of answers and reasons. We don't need answers for everything, but I would like some answers to make heads or tails with this story, honestly. So those are my thoughts on Terrifier 4. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see this conclusion, and yeah, to get some of those answers. And it can be tough to end a story. So maybe that's why Damien is sort of tucked away working on this one, because sticking the landing can be very, very difficult. We see it in, standalone movies, but we also see it in franchises a lot. So those are my thoughts, but I'm curious to know what you guys think. So if you're watching in the live chat, let me know. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts there. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content. We're covering horror news all the time here. Movies, TV shows, books, comic books, video games, all that kind of stuff, speculation, theories, whatever it is, as long as it piques our interest or tickles our fancy, we're going to cover it right here. So make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, what does the live chat have to say? What does the live chat have to say? Holy cow, I'm all behind on everything. There we go. Oh, by the way, Eli Cortez is in the house. Eli, I was chatting you up a little bit earlier because I showed off the little wheel of names that we're going to spin for those, the download codes that you so graciously donated to the channel. We're gonna give those away tomorrow during the stream, as we had previously talked about. So just an extra little shout out for Eli. And Eli, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you come up with the term Death Squad? I think you came up with the name Death Squad for the whole lot of you. So let me know. Hopefully I'm not Mandela affecting the hell out of that. But yeah, I'm curious to know what you guys think about all this Terrifier stuff. I know we do have some big time Terrifier fans in the house. So yeah. Let's see what we got. I did see that Erica, look at that. Erica dropped a $5 super chat. Said, thank you, Davey James, for terrifying me with your fluffy spider. Still like you, though. Terrifier 3 in Discord this weekend. All right. Come watch it. Love this community. Erica, you are too sweet. Thank you so very much. Yeah, guys, Davey James, who is in the chat right now, one of our channel members, is over on Discord. He has snakes and spiders, and I think it's really cool. And a few people in the Discord it kind of get creeped out by it. So it's fun. It's, it's fun to torment people with creepy crawlies, right? And yes, Terrifier 3 on the Discord sometime this weekend. We've been making our way through the movies over there. I believe for Amanda, for Trash Box Mandy, it's been her first time going through the film. So I'm excited for her to see Terrifier 3. I think it's, I know some of the big fans of the franchise, I think that's maybe the least favorite for a lot of people. But I appreciate it that it's not 2 hours and 18 minutes long. I think it's got a great opening. I love all the Christmas stuff, the warm, like 80s Christmas lights and everything. So I don't know. I had a lot of fun with Terrifier 3. I watched it in the theater and snuck in a giant Mike's Hard Lemonade to drink while I watched it. So how about that? Death Squad. It wasn't Eli. It was Jamie? It was Jamie. Okay. Well, I'm so sorry, Jamie. Why did I automatically assign that to, you know what I think it is? because Eli, he has that scripted chat post where he's like, join the mighty Death Squad. So I've seen Eli say Death Squad so much that, you know what, I'm gonna blame Eli for this one. He Mandela affected the shit out of me. No, I'm just fucking with you, Eli. And Jamie, I'm so sorry. Jamie came up with Death Squad because some people have been asking, like, what do we call ourselves? Ray said Death Tards, which is kind of funny. It's kind of funny. It's kind of mean, Ray, but I'll give you some creative points for Death Tards, but I love Death Squad. Although sometimes when I tell people, I'm like, are they going to think that we are just a group of freaks? Like, not good freaks. Like, I think we're pretty cool freaks. We're not dangerous freaks or anything like that. Oh, Jamie says I called us Death Squad my first night I modded the chat. All right. Well, that was what? About a year and a half ago, right? Must have been about a year and a half ago. Probably, I'm guessing sometime in like April or May or something like that of 2024, Jamie. Davey actually stole my username, but I've been going by Davey Deathray in real life since 2008. So that's how long I've been introducing myself to people as Davey Deathray. And then I made a joke about legally changing my name. I made that joke in front of my mother. She did not like that. She did not like that. Oh, and Eli came up with Twisted Nights. Okay, there we go. That's what it is. We are the best kind of weird. Yep. The amazing Death Squad. Yes, yes. You guys are amazing. Okay, let's move on to our very next news story here. There we go. Boobity boobity boom. There we are. Excuse me. I'm just burping up a storm over here, you know? Terrible. Tastes better on the way out, you know what I mean? Okay. All right, guys, so it's not good enough for us to just get a Robert Eggers Christmas Carol movie starring Willem Dafoe, but we've also got another one coming up here. This article by John Squires over at Bloody Disgusting has a headline that reads, Ebenezer, A Christmas Carol. Ty West directing Dickens' Tale with Johnny Depp as Scrooge. So, man, a couple heavy-hitting directors and great castings for Scrooge. I mean, obviously, there's a big age disparity, a gap between Dafoe and Depp, but I think they're both really capable of playing this character in a fantastic way and a different kind of way, I think, too. So I am curious about that. And I think Ty West and Robert Eggers, they're two of the best, younger directors out there working. And I think they're pretty different. So this is great. This is good news for people who like, Gothic tales, fans of Charles Dickens. Fans of Charles Dickens will like Ty West's Ebenezer, A Christmas Carol. And just fans of people who like, like Christmas horror. I mean, A Christmas Carol is the original Christmas horror story. So let's read into this article, or, just read the article, and then we can read into what we think it says. But before we jump in, I'm curious to know whether you're watching in the live chat or you're watching after the fact. Jump into the comments. Let me know your favorite iteration of A Christmas Carol, whether it's, George C. Scott, or it's, the Scrooged with Bill Murray, or maybe it's the Jim Carrey version or the Guy Pearce version. Whatever it is, let me know your favorite. And of course, give me your thoughts on, how you think that this version could shake out with Johnny Depp jumping on in and given his turn as Scrooge. So let's go ahead and check this one out. I think, what is this picture from, like Secret Window or something like that? That's what it looks like. Oh, there it is. It says Secret Window right below. If only I would scroll down further. All right, the article says, while Robert Eggers plans his own dark take on A Christmas Carol starring Willem Dafoe, Deadline reports that Ty West is taking his own crack at the classic tale. Johnny Depp will reportedly play Ebenezer Scrooge in Ty West's Ebenezer, A Christmas Carol, with Andrea Riseborough also attached to star in the film. Paramount will release the film in theaters on November 13th, 2026. So I think a year before, because I think the Eggers Christmas Carol is going to be 2027. unless it's his next movie. I don't know. I could be totally spun around on that. So let me know in the live chat or in the comments. I could be wrong about that. The article continues by saying, Deadline details in their report this afternoon, quote, this version, a thrilling ghost story set in Dickens' London, follows one man's supernatural journey to face his past, present, and future and fight for a second chance. Stephen Deuters and Jason Foreman to executive produce. And Nathaniel Halpern wrote this adaptation for Ty West to direct. And then, yeah, we've got, I guess I should have waited for the article once again to just rattle off. Let me know which one of these is your favorite. If they are, we'll just, man, Alistair Sim, like that's a very famous one there. Albert Finney, of course, George C. Scott, Bill Murray. Oh, Michael Caine from the Muppet Christmas Carol. Michael Caine is great. And then we've got the aforementioned Jim Carrey there as well. Now, the article closes out by saying, A Christmas Carol is Now, the article closes out by saying, A Christmas Carol is classically a period-piece ghost story. As Louise H.C. wrote here on Bloody Disgusting, quote, isn't it weird how the single most influential piece of Christmas-related media is technically a horror story? One can even make the argument that Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol paved the way for the rise of Victorian spiritualism during the following decade. And yeah, it is a curious thing. It's really cool. I don't know. I think it's kind of badass that Christmas horror goes back to one of the most celebrated authors of all time and one of the most celebrated pieces of work of all time. And then we've got this really cool shot of the, Ghost of Christmas Future, aka Death, aka the Grim Reaper. This must be from the Guy Pearce version, I would imagine. But let's go ahead and scroll back up to Johnny Depp's face there as we talk about this. So, like I said, I think Ty West is great. I love that that X trilogy is awesome. Innkeepers, The House of the Devil, all that stuff. And I'm kind of in the spot where this is one of those stories where I'm interested in checking out all of these iterations. The story of Scrooge, the redemption story is just, it's one of those that I always want to watch at least one version of this story every Christmas. And I think it really does like encapsulate the Christmas spirit, what Bill Murray's character says, Frank Cross says in Scrooge is that it's Christmas Eve, it's never too late. So like this like hopefulness, I'm getting tingles all over my body just thinking about it because I think it's a really hopeful, sweet story. And yeah, I think with Eggers doing one with Defoe, I think that's going to be like chillingly awesome. And I'm very curious to see what Johnny Depp does here with Ty West because, Depp's been through, talk about the darkness he's been through in his personal life over the last handful of years. And now that he's, coming out of that darkness and, returning to perform in front of the camera, I'm really interested to see what he's got because I think he's one of the most talented actors of his generation. So I'm really looking forward to this one, and I'm curious to know what you guys think. So if you're in the live chat, let me know your thoughts. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Give me your thoughts down there. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content. You could even hit that hype button, and that would just spread it out all over there. We're covering horror news all the time here on the channel. Movies, TV shows, video games, books, comics, whatever. As long as it piques our interest or tickles our fancy, we're going to cover it right here. So make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, what's the live chat got to say? Look at that. This is just beautiful. The Pumpkin King super chat is still up there. It's still, oh my goodness, $99.99. Pumpkin King. Whoo! All right, let's see what you guys got here for Scrooged. But also, I do see there's a lot of, a lot of side chat going on, which I certainly do appreciate. Okay. Mickey Mouse Scrooge. Okay. It's been a long time since I've watched that one. Yeah. Scrooge McDuck. Yeah. Man, it's been a long time. It is a really good story. Ties should be interesting. Yeah. After George C. Scott, it's the Muppets. Mickey Christmas Carol, Scrooged, and Jim Carrey version, but Captain Jack Sparrow as Scrooge now. Yeah. And hope that's the thing too, is he's got to make it a little bit different, right? Oh, Blu-ray Addict. There's so many out there. It's a really good story. You know, and the cool thing is I don't think any of them are really like, the story isn't bad. So you know, picking your favorite is just kind of like, which one has the visual style or the performances that really do it for you, you know? I still need to see this one. My mom is Ray's favorite Scrooge. We say mom here in the United States. We don't say mum. Mum's the word, right? That we do say that. We do say mum's the word. DuckTales, woo! Okay, let's see what else we got. I'm struggling to read, boys. Can't wait until next week. What's happening next week? What's happening next week? Thank you so much for sharing that again. Yes, you guys can donate early if you would like. Yeah, Defoe is going to totally kill it. You know, we are such a nice community. Thank you, Illuminated. Donnie Depp. Oh, that's the knockoff is what Davey James says. That's hilarious. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, let's go ahead and get on into the next story. Let's see here. This one is fun, and it's, I don't know. This isn't really like news per se. I just wanted to talk about it because I love Osgood Perkins, and he and I are like lockstep on this one, and I know Ray feels similarly as well. And maybe some of you, you know, some of the rest of yous feel similarly about this. We talked about it a little bit on Hit the Bricks a couple weeks ago, and I was the lone wolf on this opinion, which is totally fine. I don't, you know, I don't feel like I need to agree with all my friends, and I don't feel like all my friends need to agree with me. So as long as we can have a, you know, respectable conversation and respectful conversation with one another, that's the most important thing. So so yeah, I mean, you know, people are going to feel different ways about art and all that kind of stuff, and I certainly am not into censorship, but I have some things that are just sort of, you know, not my thing. So, you know, I would never want to prevent anyone from creating or enjoying a piece of artwork that they would like to create or like to enjoy. But these Netflix dramatizations, this what's this guy's name? I guess we'll see it here in a second. This Ryan, whatever his name is. Anywho, let's go ahead and cover this. Wait, did I switch everything over? I'm getting all nervous because the last time I covered news, it went sideways, guys. Okay, here we go. Okay, folks. Well, in the wake of the Ed Gein Netflix series, and you know, we saw one on Jeffrey Dahmer that starred Evan Peters. We've got another one coming up. I think it might be Peacock that's doing the John Wayne Gacy. This has just become kind of like this wave of true crime fiction. Unfortunately, it's an odd thing. We talked about it on Hit the Bricks a couple weeks ago, and you know, Lee from Drum Dums and Nick from the Lost River Drive-In, they're kind of the mind of, you know, it's okay if things are embellished, exaggerated, or just flat out made up because you know, it is for entertainment, and you know, we have access to resources where we can find out what's true and what isn't. And I think those points are certainly valid. You know, we do all have the tools to go out there and find out, you know, the lies and the exaggerations that are told in this Ed Gein monster, you know, limited streaming series or whatever. But the way that I feel about it is kind of like how Osgood Perkins feels about it. So we're going to jump into this story here. This one comes to us by way of John Squires over at Bloody Disgusting, and the headline reads, Monster, the Ed Gein Story. Osgood Perkins questions the Netflix-ization of real pain. And before we get into this, I kind of just laid out the groundwork. Let me know in the live chat. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Let me know. Do you enjoy these kinds of series? Are you the kind of person that you do know the truth, or this makes you dive in and research and find out the difference between the show and real life? Do you enjoy the shows because you don't really care? That could be another one. Or are you of the mind of like, yeah, this is like kind of this is pushing some sort of boundary that doesn't need to be pushed, or it's delving into territory where maybe these real life monsters are sort of being glorified a little bit. I'm curious to know what you think, so jump into the comments, let me know your thoughts there, and let's get into the article here. And we got that shot there of Charlie Hunnam as Ed Gein. I think that's another thing that kind of rubs me an odd sort of way is, they do a great job with the makeup and trying to make him look like Ed Gein here. But, with Evan Peters and Charlie Hunnam, I don't think it's controversial to say that both of those guys are like sex symbols, or at least that they're looked at as being very attractive by a large, amount of the population. So it is kind of odd as well to cast sex symbol celebrities as these monsters, especially when they are better looking than them, even with the makeup and everything. Anyways, that's a little bit of a tangent. I'm not jealous. No, not at all. I'm not jealous of anyone's looks. So the article says here, while true crime shows like Monster, the Ed Gein Story have proven to be incredibly popular on Netflix, it's not hard to at least ponder what purpose they end up serving. In the case of the Ed Gein Story, the third season of Ryan Murphy's series based on real-life monsters, the clunky and questionable driving force behind the series seems to be to humanize and empathize with Gein, presenting him as something more than the grave-robbing boogeyman who inspired Psycho and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But while those movies loosely drew inspiration from Gein's horrific crimes and created fictional characters out of them, Monster, the Ed Gein Story, essentially presents itself as the true story of Ed Gein, not so much a monster, but a man driven to do monstrous things. By the end of the series, I personally found the whole endeavor to be a baffling and tasteless misfire. And of course, the I there is John Squire's I am reading his articles. John, love your work. If you ever want me to do the audiobook version of the Bloody Disgusting website, just let me know. And John continues by saying, but the Ed Gein Story does present some interesting ideas, particularly in the way it plays with Ed Gein's aforementioned inspiration on Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the Silence of the Lambs. The series attempts to draw a clear parallel between Gein and the likes of Norman Bates, Leatherface, and Buffalo Bill, bringing those movie characters back to life on screen. In the process, Murphy and his team end up turning Anthony Perkins, Alfred Hitchcock, and Tobe Hooper into characters in their show, which is quite fascinating for horror fans. But what does Osgood Perkins, the son of the late actor Anthony Perkins, feel about Monster, the Ed Gein Story? Chatting with TMZ, he reveals that he wouldn't dare watch the series. While Perkins told TMZ that he, quote, wouldn't watch it with a 10-foot pole, he did question the way Netflix and other streamers have turned true crime into a profitable entertainment industry. Perkins notes that it's all become, quote, increasingly devoid of context, and that the Netflix-ization of real pain is playing for the wrong team, end quote. He's particularly talking about the attempt to turn these real-life horror stories into, quote, glamorous and meaningful content, and he worries about contemporary culture being, quote, reshaped in real time by overlords. The depiction of, well, a little bit of a bloop there, the prediction? Oh my goodness. I will say this really quick before moving on to the end of the article here. I am right there with Oz, and I'll talk a little bit once we're finished reading the article here. And the article closes out by saying, the depiction of Perkins in Monster, the Ed Gein Story becomes particularly uncomfortable when the show seems to draw a parallel between Gein and Perkins, essentially suggesting that Perkins' secrets about his sexuality are somehow akin to Gein's own dark secrets. It's something the series never ends up exploring further, leaving only a bad taste in the mouth. So yeah, they say Joey Polari plays Anthony Perkins in the show. There's a shot of him and looks like Hitch as well. I mean, man, the production design and the costume design, like this all looks really good. The show's got a great look to it. But I will say, man, so that last little bit of the article is troubling, right? So you're taking a real life person, and if what John, like I haven't seen the show, but John Squires has seen the show, and what he's saying is, to him as an audience member, it seemed like they were, yeah, drawing those parallels between hiding your sexuality and having that be like somehow not maybe like a metaphor for a crazed killer or some sort of human monster hiding their own, sick actions or sick desires. I think that's pretty off base and pretty rough. So I can't blame Osgood Perkins for feeling the way that he does, right? I mean, it's his dad. And then also, he works in the industry as well. So he's not only is Oz a director, he's also a writer, and he's, this is something that horror is something that he really loves. And I think he makes a really good point when he talks about, just sort of exaggerating and glorifying and, making entertainment and profiting off of the real pain of others. And yeah, I also think it's when you make things up in these stories. So is the true story of Ed Gein not fascinating enough? Is the true story of Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy or BTK or any, like, the true story is fascinating and disturbing enough. So when you embellish and you make things up and all that kind of stuff, you're not telling the truth and you're leaving it up to the audience. You're putting the onus on the audience to go and research these people and find out what you're lying about. When the show is presented, the way they present it to the audience is, hey, this is very, very accurate. Like, of course, it's all going to be a little bit different from the real thing, but we're basically telling like 98% of the truth, which is not even close with the Ed Gein thing and not close with the Dahmer stuff either. So that stuff just all kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. I don't think I'm being precious about it. I don't think I'm clutching my pearls about this one. I don't feel stuffed shirted or any other kind of euphemism that you want to use to describe somebody, being kind of a stick in the mud about it. Again, if it's something you enjoy, then that's awesome for you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I would never want to censor a creative mind or prevent people from enjoying media that they like. But this is something that's just not for me. And I am happy to see that Oz has come out and said something about it. And it makes me proud as a fan of his, honestly. And, I didn't expect to see anything like this from him, but it makes me feel like in some sort of way, my thoughts and feelings are a little bit validated as well. So, there it is. That's how I feel about this kind of stuff. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the live chat if you're hanging out. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Give me all of your thoughts down there. You can hate on me or agree with me, whatever. We can still have a chat about it. But thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Heck, if you enjoyed this video, hit the hype button as well, because we are covering horror news all the time here. Movies, TV shows, video games, comic books, whatever, as long as it piques our interest or tickles our fancy, we're going to cover it right here. So make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay. Felt like a long one, but I had a lot to say, people. A lot to say. You know what I mean? Ed Gein wanted his mom to rub him the wrong way. Oh my gosh. So give an example, Davey. What victim was totally accurate in the Dahmer show? I saw it, but not sure what is real. So I haven't seen these shows. I've read about the inaccuracies in them. It's been a while since I've read about the Dahmer stuff. I know in particular, the character that Niecy Nash played, she's like the big butted woman from Reno 911. That's what I know her from. I love Reno 911. They made her character look like some hero that like knew what Jeffrey was doing and like called the police and all this stuff. That woman never did anything in real life. So that's just like one example there. With the Ed Gein stuff, they made up a whole hell of a lot. Ed Gein never used a chainsaw. Psycho was written as a book before, or like not using Gein as an inspiration, although you can argue, you can say the movie was used him as an inspiration for sure. I think they claim that he's killed, I think he has like 7 victims in the show and he had like 2 in real life. He never took, I don't know if I can say this word. There's a word that starts with necro and ends with philia, which was something that he never did. And I think in the in the Ed Gein show, they have him doing that. So yeah. And Stephanie Hinkle says, makes me want to watch it now. Then I guess you could decide for yourself at that point. There you go. Oh, Reno 911 is rule. It does rule. Yeah. is rule. Reno 911 is rule. It is rule. PG-13 fall Halloween film recommendations. PG-13. I'm trying to think of like a good PG-13 horror movie that's not The Ring, you know? And I think even Sleepy Hollow's R-rated, right? Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question, Illuminated. Chat, you're going to have to help me out with that one. You are going to have to help me out with that one. Yeah, this wasn't true either. Blu-ray brings up a good one. It's funny that they fucked this up or fucked with this because Ted Bundy, the FBI did use Ted Bundy to try to catch the Green River Killer. So why they would like swap it with Gein helping to find Bundy is really, really odd. Oh, there you go. Drag Me to Hell's great. Yeah. Yeah, Dean's got it right. Yeah, it's really odd. These things that they do are very strange. And again, I'll just, you know, I see, if you see another reason for it other than just, and entertainment isn't a reason. Entertainment is just like, yeah, they want to make money, so they make shit up. But like, it just glorifies these people and tries to make them seem bigger and more consequential than they were. Well, I'm right with you, Stephanie. I do love the true stories. The problem is these shows aren't telling the true stories. So I find this stuff fascinating. It's not the, like, you know, serial killers and all that weird stuff, these anomalies. Like, I find it fascinating that there are these monsters out there. I'm just much more interested in like watching the interrogation videos or like an actual documentary where they talk to the investigators and the people that actually dealt with this stuff. And it's just like academic. I would rather have something like that's how I am, because I still find the academic stuff entertaining in its own way, and it's a way more informative. So there you go. Woman in Black, scary stories to tell in the dark. Poltergeist. Okay, yeah, was Poltergeist PG or PG? It was one of the first PG-13 movies, right? Dean says, I feel like they could have just made up a different killer on the loose that Gein's info helped catch. Yeah, just for the sake of the show. I'm hearing the Gacy show on Peacock leans more on accuracy. We'll see. I mean, and either way, like, that's the trouble with dramatization. You're going to fill in some gaps, you know, and they're always going to fill in the gaps with bullshit. They're not going to fill in the gaps with real stuff. It was PG. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought with That's wild that Poltergeist is PG, even with that face disintegrating scene. That's crazy. Okay, guys, I know we're over an hour and I've only given you 3 news stories. So I'm slacking off. Okay. Good fucking Christ with the Jason universe, people, dude. I'm going to try to like hold it down here. Jamie's got a good point. I feel like dramatizing true crime is easy, and that's why they do it. The bottom line. Do you think Ryan Murphy's a weirdo and a sicko? Ray and I were talking about that the other day. I think there's something going on with this guy, that he likes doing this stuff and glorifying this stuff. So I think, yeah, maybe it is easy just to be like, oh, we're going to make Ed Gein like, we're going to teach a whole entire generation the wrong things about this monster, just because it's easy to make up a bunch of shit. It's weird. I think that Ryan Murphy's got some weird shit going on. And I'm not making any judgments on his character, but I will say it seems like an unhealthy obsession because of how they're glorifying and indulging on these monsters and on their stories. How do you feel about movies that are based on true stories like Titanic or Pearl Harbor? Both movies. Never saw Pearl Harbor. Totally not my thing. I'm not really a war movie guy, and yeah, Pearl Harbor's, I'm not interested in that. I did see Titanic. It came out in the theaters when I was in high school, so it was required by law that I take my high school girlfriend to Titanic in the theater. And I think Titanic's okay. I mean, I just think any based on a true story, of course, there's going to be embellishments and things that are wrong. I think Titanic, you know, they did as much as they could to get specific things right, you know, about certain people and all that kind of stuff, that's kind of James Cameron's sort of thing. I just don't think it's as I guess when you're talking about real life monsters and telling the stories, the life stories of these serial killers, I think that's more damaging than telling a Titanic story and not getting it all the way right. But for the most part, I don't really like based on a true story movies. I just rather they be made up. I don't know. Especially I don't know, certain biopics are interesting and entertaining and everything like that. But like the musical biopics are like really bad. Yeah, they're just not really my thing. Blu-ray. Yeah, so good they have to give them away. We're gonna talk about that. In the Dahmer is the last black guy was a true fact. The way he was killed was also. Yeah, I'm not saying that they don't get things right, but they make up a bunch of stuff. So I would say in each one of these series, it seems like it's about 50-50. Yeah, I was just talking about The Neighbor. I think they kind of like make her a hero. No, that's not how it went down. None of the neighbors did a damn thing, really. They're like, oh, it smells funny over there. Let's see here. Seems to have an unhealthy obsession. Yes, I agree. Illuminated, I am 43. 43 and a half next month. How about it? Okay, yes, F the Jason universe. Let's talk about it. Oh my God, guys. I try to stay positive about Friday the 13th, and then the Jason universe comes and they pull me back to the negative side. Don't get me wrong, I still feel really good about A24 and Peacock's Crystal Lake TV show. That's a little, a different entity. It seems like those people are more trustworthy. They're more about creating a product, and they're not like leaking out little bits of info and all that stuff. They seem to be focused on making a really good prequel series for the Friday the 13th story. However, the Jason universe just continues with this marketing malarkey. I mean, Fortnite skins, I get it. You're trying to market to children who've never even seen a Friday the 13th movie. You're making little toys. They've done the whole Angry Orchard thing through the cider and the Sweet Revenge short film and all that, which I'll give the Sweet Revenge short film this. It didn't feel like a commercial. It could have felt a lot more like a commercial. Yes, you see the Angry Orchard bottles there and there's apples and all that, but like it could have been completely embarrassing. And I wouldn't put it in that category, although I'm not, this is not a glowing review of Sweet Revenge. But here we got this crazy thing. This news story came out yesterday. So right here, you can see on the screen that this article from Alex DiVincenzo over on Bloody Disgusting, the headline reads, Angry Orchard is giving away Jason Universe masks with online orders. And I brought this article up earlier today. So it says published 23 hours ago on October 22nd, 2025. So just yesterday at the beginning of the day, this article was published. And then let's just scroll on down here and see what the very first thing on the article says in bold lettering. It says, update, supplies have run out, so this promotion has ended. So not even a day could Angry Orchard keep enough of these masks around or keep this promotion going. It's just one of these things where it's like the level of incompetence is laughingly bad. I feel like the joke's on us though. Because there's no way that many people were like so excited about these crappy plastic masks. We'll take a look at the crappy plastic masks and everything here in a second. There's not much purpose in reading the article. And I know I usually read the articles, but since the supplies have run out, I mean, whatever, I can tell you here, it says a hockey mask always makes for a quick and easy Halloween costume. And this year you can get one for free from Angry Orchard. Well, no, you can't. The hard cider brand is giving away Jason Universe masks for free with select purchases from their online store while supplies last. So what did they only have a couple hundred of these? Like, what's going on? Because people are not this jazzed on the Jason Universe. I know that for a fact. Unless one person ordered enough to get every single mask in the bunch. I don't know. So the Angry Orchard merch Includes apparel, beanies, koozies, cups, and more. And the new Jason Voorhees mask designed in collaboration with special effects legend Greg Nicotero. I'm so sorry, Greg, but you did a really bad job with this mask, bro. You are so talented. What the hell were you doing with this thing? Made its official debut in the Angry Orchard produced vignette Sweet Revenge. Yes, yes. Call of Duty, Fortnite, Halloween Horror Nights, NECA, U2's, Funko, Chia Pets. All of these things are more important to the Jason universe than everything else, than the stuff that actually matters to me, to you, to not only the diehard Friday the 13th fans, but I think at this point, to the casual Friday the 13th fans, this shit is insulting, man. Just, I get it. I don't want a rushed movie or anything like that either. Like, I don't want you to do something rushed, but it seems like you're spending a lot of time and energy on a bunch of bullshit. And now, you know, not even a day after announcing this promotion, they ran out of the supplies. So, and I don't think, I don't know, maybe they just did that so people could resell these. I have no idea, but check this shit out. I'm going to open up this image on another tab and we'll take a look at it over here so you guys can get a good look of these, the great product. Look at this crap. I am going to zoom in because this mask, okay, so if it doesn't have Angry Orchard hard cider right on the friggin' forehead, maybe it's like fun to wear on Halloween as a joke because you're in your 40s and you don't want to come up with a costume and you're just going to be handing out candy. Whatever. I'm not going to judge you for that, but I am going to judge them for putting their logo smack dab right on the forehead. This is like some sort of like dark commercialism humor or something like that. Put the logo on the inside of the mask. Like, have some respect for Jason. This is the problem with the Friday the 13th franchise. And I'm sorry, guys. I know at this point I'm just kind of ranting about it. And I didn't even say, let me know your thoughts. So if you're watching in the live chat, let me know your thoughts. I know this isn't really important, but this stuff is really annoying. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments down below. Tell me to take a chill pill. Tell me I'm unhinged, or say that you completely agree with me. Whatever. This kind of shit just bugs the hell out of me. Friday the 13th is my second favorite slasher franchise after Halloween, and you ain't ever gonna see shit like this from MaXXXine and Halloween. Like, this is absurd. And that's the problem with Friday the 13th, is there's no like one singular voice like MaXXXine that is just gonna be like, no, I'm not going to stamp this. I'm not going to sign off on this. Nightmare on Elm Street doesn't have it either. We waved bye-bye a long time ago with like stuff like Star Wars. So it's like, now we're in this age where this is just for commercialization and consumerism and marketing, and fuck the story and fuck the character and what he could mean to people or does mean to people. I don't know. This is just totally absurd. Like I said, Jason Universe marketing malarkey. I can't stand this crap. And the fact that the masks are not available after less than one day. So you didn't even have enough to give to the people that might like this and actually want one of these damn things. So it's embarrassing all around. I feel bad for all of us. I especially feel bad for the hardcore Friday the 13th fans out there, but I'm curious to know what you guys think. Jump into the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts down there. If you're hanging out in the live chat, hit me up there as well. Thank you so much for checking out the video. I got to go check my blood pressure and make sure it's still okay, but make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, maybe hype the video if you're like, oh my God, unhinged horror fan freaks out over stupid plastic mask from Angry Orchard. Hype it up. Get it out there. This community is growing. We'd love to have you along for the ride. And we cover all sorts of news here on the channel. As long as it's horror, we're going to talk about it. So TVs, movies, stupid Jason Universe shit, video games, comics. As long as it piques our interest or tickles our fancy, we're going to talk about it right here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, guys, have I just like lost it now? Have I lost you guys? I don't know. Did I lose y'all? I've tried Discord. It's pretty boring. Really? Have you watched a movie with us in Discord, Joel? It's really fun. I'm telling you, Erica, just start a Creepy Crawly's channel, and then you don't have to see it, right? A Michael Myers mask with Smirnoff Ice on the forehead. Yeah, it's terrible. Great redesign, Nick. You left a space for a logo, says Manny's Manic Media. Welcome on in, man. Really great to see you. That is too funny. Yeah, it's absurd, man. It's absurd. I'm trying to keep up with you guys in the chat about the news, but I'm seeing a lot of talk about the spiders. Is it the same mask? I don't remember either. I do remember the movie. It was so damn quick. So I mean, it's a flimsy plastic version of the mask. So I think there's a real version of the mask that's at Spirit. And I think those are like maybe a little more scuffed up. They have more of like a wood kind of tone to the actual mask, whereas this one looks very white. I wouldn't be surprised if this fucking thing glows in the dark. I'm sorry, I know my language is like really in the gutter here on this one, but it's just how I feel. It's just how I feel. Thank you guys so much for kicking it with me and listening to me bitch about inconsequential shit. I know, it's inconsequential. Very Walmart, says Ray. Yes, it is very Walmart. It might even be worse than that. Yeah. Let's see here. Big Hush made the best version of this universe mask so far. Well, and so I don't know if you guys saw this, but Nicotero, apparently they did make some adjustments on the mask. So maybe the next time we see it, it's going to look a little bit different. Like, I don't know if they've really unveiled that, but man, for me, the eye holes are like the big problem, and the shape of the mask. It just looks like way too oval. Skylar White is like 6'5" or something like that. The guy that played Jason, 6'4", 6'5", and he looked like he was like my size or smaller. I'm like 6 feet tall. It just like the mask was so big on him in Sweet Revenge that it just made him look tiny, you know. And he's a big dude. By the way, Skylar White was the special effects supervisor for Shelby Oaks. How about that? Because he does special effects work as well. You ruined the Discord, Davey. I bought the Spirit mask. It's old school, not the new design. Oh, okay, cool. It's a Temu mask. Yeah. No version of this mask is good. This one's just more embarrassing. This plastic one. It is. It's bad. It is bad. Okay, I'm gonna check and close out this poll over here, guys. We have 3 out of 5 of the super chats to reach our goal for me to do a double feature public watch party on Discord. There's only 15 minutes left. Now, super chats, they're just extra, not a requirement. You guys are still going to see me live 3 or 4 times a week, but we're more than halfway there. It would be a shame to miss out on the goal with us being more than halfway there. So if we get 2 more super chats of $4.99 or more, then on the Discord server, we're going to do a double feature. How about that? Just wanted to remind you guys, I am going to close out this poll here. So 23 votes in the poll. Let's see what we got. Which A Christmas Carol are you looking forward to most? Robert Eggers with Willem Dafoe wins the poll with 39%. Oh no, tied with Ty West and Johnny Depp. So both of those 39% each. And 22% of you, even though it's not happening or hasn't been announced, at least not yet, maybe we can speak it into existence. Osgood Perkins with Nick Cage gets 22%, and it's not even a real thing. That is wild. Thank you so much to everyone that voted. I hope you also hit the like button, though. I'm just saying, we had like 55 votes on our last poll on last night's stream, and only like 34 likes. So I don't know what the hell that's all about, but what can you do? I can't force you guys. I can't force you. Here's a little fun story that came out about a week ago. I saw it, kind of came and went, and then Jamie Hart hit me up and was like, hey, did you see this? You might want to talk about it on the channel. And it's again, this is another like hypothetical, little kind of pipe dream sort of thing. Let's see what we got here. Okay, guys, so even though the A Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is not doing anything right now, it's still a good time to speculate about who could play Freddy Krueger if it's not going to be Robert Englund. Now, Robert has said that, you know, maybe like a video game kind of thing or something like that, but just nothing where he's like physically there because he's just not really, you know, feeling the role. And yeah, he's a bit of an older guy now. So the way I feel about it is put him in a mocap suit. You know, they put Nick Castle in a motion capture suit for the upcoming Halloween video game. So you could do something like that, and you could, you know, digitally create him through that motion capture suit, and then all of the Nobody But Robert crew would have what they want. You know, you'd get exactly what they want. I also think there's a talented young actor named Jared Bankins. He was on the first season of Twisted Metal, and he's got a very angular look, praying mantis-like, even just a little otherworldly. I really like his look. And then also just the character he played on the show was somebody that took sadistic joy in the torture and pain of others. And I was like, well, those are Freddy Krueger qualities. This guy would be great. But, you know, everyone's always going to speculate. There are people like want Richard Brake and Kevin Bacon, even though those guys are in their like 60s or 70s now. Not much younger than Robert Englund, or maybe just right about the same age. But here we've got this article from Alex DiVincenzo of Bloody Disgusting. The headline reads, Dream Warriors director Chuck Russell thinks Jim Carrey could play Freddy Krueger in a new Elm Street. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I love Jim Carrey as a performer. I know there's always going to be people that just sort of see him as the jokey comedic guy, rubber face, just too out there and too over the top. But also he has dabbled in the dramatic and more serious, darker movies as well. So, I mean, I think Jim Carrey's got a lot of range. I think maybe he's a little too old. I want to see somebody in their mid-30s start to play Freddy, not someone that's in their 50s or older, you know? But I don't know. Let's see what this article says here. I'm curious to know what you guys think. If you're in the live chat, let me know your thoughts there. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Let me know what you think about this idea that Chuck Russell has of Jim Carrey. Like, I can see it. So let me know your thoughts on that, or if there's somebody else that you think could play Freddy. And I want to hear some legit, you know, we already mentioned Richard Brake, we mentioned Kevin Bacon, and no Bill Skarsgård. Like, I want a hot take or a deep cut, not this obvious stuff. No Evan Peters either. Like, really stop and think, because Robert wasn't a star when he played Freddy. Is there an actor right now in their mid-30s that you're like, man, not a lot of people know about this person, and they'd make an awesome Freddy? Let me know down in the comments section below, and let's check this article out. So there we got a picture of Jim Carrey from, I believe it was The Number 23 is the name of that movie. Yep, there it is. And yeah, that's one of his more serious, darker roles. So this article says, Chuck Russell, director and co-writer of the fan-favorite sequel, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, is interested in returning to the world of Freddy Krueger, especially if he can reunite with stars Patricia Arquette and Robert Englund. Quote, I'd love to do another Elm Street if there was the full support of everybody, Russell told Dread Central's Development Hell podcast. Patricia Arquette has said she'd like to do it again in the press. Very interesting, because she didn't talk about it a lot earlier in her career. She was so terrific and went on to have such a great career. I think that's a good idea too. I still think Robert, for me, is the only Freddy. Were I to be involved in a new Elm Street, A, I'd be delighted, and B, my first goal would be to get Robert involved. With Englund having gone on record as saying his Freddy days are behind him, Russell thinks Jim Carrey, with whom he collaborated on The Mask, yes, that's right, Chuck Russell not only directed Dream Warriors and the remake of The Blob, he also directed The Mask. Russell thinks Jim Carrey could pull off the iconic role. Quote, Jim, in my opinion, could almost do anything if he puts his heart into it. For Jim to do it, we'd have to do something that was another leap in the Elm Street series, a little bit like what Wes did with his very meta New Nightmare. I think Jim would only consider it, and I'd only consider harnessing Jim if there was a bold new direction for Elm Street. Yeah, I'm right there with him on that one. I think you've got to take it in a different direction, especially if Freddy's going to have a totally different look like that, you know? So yeah, let's see here. The article rounds out just by, you know, reminding us that Russell recently returned to horror with a reimagining of the 1986 horror cult classic Witchboard, which you can check out on VOD. And there he is chit-chatting. You know, the Dream Warriors movie got a 4K restoration on that beautiful box set that just came out. So there's our shot of Chuck Russell there. Still rocking and rolling, you know? looking good. But let's go ahead and just zone in on Jim Carrey's eyes here as we talk. You know, again, I would like somebody that's a little bit younger. I would be down for this if they did it. I mean, I'd really be down for Patricia Arquette coming back to the franchise. I think that would be awesome. Like her and Heather Langenkamp, I really want to see them return to A Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, anytime there's a big name involved, though, with playing a character like Freddy Krueger, I think it's really difficult. I think sometimes you want your audience to not be thinking about the roles they've played or what we know about their personal life, which is why I like the idea of casting somebody that's up and coming. Or somebody that's just totally under the radar. You know, that's where my mind is when I think about, you know, ushering in a new performer to play Freddy. So yeah, I don't know, not against Jim Carrey. I love him as an actor and everything, but I'd rather see something fresh and new for sure. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the live chat if you're kicking it with us right now. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Let me know your thoughts down there. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Maybe hit the hype button and see if we can gain a little momentum as we finish out spooky season. That would be great. We're covering horror news all the time on the channel. So movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, whatever, random, not even fan castings, but director castings like this story here. So as long as it piques our interest or tickles our fancy, we're going to cover it right here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, guys, what you got? I've got one little other tiny story, but I think I'm going to give my voice a rest since I'm going to be talking for 10 hours straight tomorrow. So how about that? Dane DeHaan, there you go. I'm into that. I am into that. Jude Law, too old. I'll just be like a judge up here. That's the thing, guys, is we picture Jude Law. You picture him in like Closer, which was like 25 years ago, right? So same thing with Kevin Bacon. People was like, oh, Kevin Bacon would be great. Well, yeah, he would have been great in the early 2000s or like the 90s, you know? Robert was 36 when he played Freddy the first time. So Robert is in his mid to late 70s. 76, 77. I can't remember when his birthday is. I think he might have one coming up, or maybe he just had one. So yeah, I'm thinking like, hey, if you want this actor to play Freddy for like, you know, 3 to 5 movies plus, then you are going to want somebody in their mid 30s. You want somebody that can play Freddy for a good 10 to 12 years, possibly, right? Something like that. 10 to 15 years. I don't know. Stephanie wants the old Freddy back. I'm telling you, motion capture suit. I know maybe a lot of people that aren't, you know, some people, especially in horror, they really don't like digital effects, but I just think it's all about how you use them. I love practical effects, and you can still use a lot of practical effects. But I think motion capture and then bring in, you know, Freddy would be a digital character, but they are really good at making those now. So you could still have Robert perform the role, and then you can make it look like Dream Warriors Robert, you know? I don't know if anyone could take Jim Carrey seriously as Freddy. I don't know if anyone could take anyone serious as Freddy. Like, after the second movie, Freddy is not very serious, right? I mean, he jokes a little bit in the first 2 movies, but it's like really dark kind of joking. It's not like, I'll get you, my little Freddy, and your little dog too. Like, it's not like so absurd like Freddy's dead. I think that's the problem with Freddy now. Freddy has gone into that Chucky kind of territory where it's like, yeah, it's fun. It's a party. Shit ain't scary though, you know? I didn't think Jackie Earle Haley was scary. Jim as Freddy, get the fuck out. Yeah, I don't think it would ever happen. But it's just an interesting thing to talk about, right? Jamie says he's going to have his haters and people who won't take him seriously, but I think he should ignore that and prove them wrong. Yeah. Like I said, I'd be down. I would be down, and I do think, yes, there are going to be people that are going to be like, this is the Dumb and Dumber guy, this is the Grinch or whatever, but even when you watch the Grinch, man, his performance is, that movie would have sucked without him, right? Like, Cat in the Hat's terrible. It's not like Mike Myers is unfunny, but Cat in the Hat's dreadful. Like, Jim makes the Grinch work, and he does disappear into the role. There is something, yeah, I don't know. Will Poulter, okay, now we're talking. Illuminated, now we're talking. That guy is, man, Death of a Unicorn was such a, like, I don't even know how I feel about this movie kind of movie, but Will Poulter was hilarious every time he was on screen. As long as I've got the right guy, right? From like We Are the Marshals or whatever it was called. Something like that. Let's see here. Caleb Landry Jones. Why do I know that name? And welcome on in, Scratch Burno. How are you doing? It's been a while. Caleb Landry Jones. That name is like so familiar. Where do I know that name from? There you go. Jigsaw says a lot of people didn't take Michael Keaton seriously as Batman and proved to them he could. Yeah. Daniel Radcliffe. Okay. Now we're talking. Same with Heath Ledger as the Joker. Dean brings up to counter Jigsaw's Batman and Michael Keaton point. Yeah, Keaton is the go. Yeah, Keaton could do Freddy. Again, too old. No, but I love Keaton. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of these people are too old, but yeah. Walton Goggins would be great, but he's in his 50s. Yeah. David Dastmalchian, but he's in his 50s. It's just, if you only want to do like one or two movies, okay. But if you want to build, reboot the franchise, you've got to pick somebody that's no older than 40. You want to get at least 10 years out of them. And also, we're living in a day and age where, Robert was there to build up the popularity of the character. Now the character everyone knows. Freddy is in the pop culture zeitgeist. So, it's a little different. The person that ends up playing Freddy is going to get offers to play other movies, or they will have already been famous. So they're not going to just want to do nothing but Freddy for 10 years of their life. So if they're 40 when they start playing Freddy, they might not be done until their early 50s or mid 50s, depending on how many movies they make. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Keanu, Bill and Ted, to Matrix, to John Wick. Yeah. I love Keanu. Even when he's bad, I like him. I'm a big Jim Carrey fan, says Jamie, ever since Once Bitten. I love that. I rented that movie when I was a little kid, long before he was famous. And then saw him in Living Color as well. Yeah. We're the Millers. Yeah. That's the one. Yep. We're the Marshalls. Forgetting Sarah Miller. We're the Marshalls. It took a lot for Carrey to do 3 Sonic movies, considering he usually doesn't like playing the same character more than once. Yeah. Well, what if they do a one-off that's kind of like a New Nightmare sort of spin? I don't know. I mean, that's already been done. But yeah, I think Jim Carrey's really good in the Sonic. I've seen the first 2. I haven't seen the third one yet, but I was not expecting much from those and had a really good time, honestly. And I don't have any kids, so I miss out on a lot of kid movies. But I did grow up playing Sega Genesis, so I had to check those out. Brad Dourif, too old. Yeah, Brad Dourif's way too old. He was at Mad Monster earlier this year, and yeah, he's really showing the age for sure. I love Brad Dourif. I'm not, I wish him the longest, healthiest life. I think everything he's given us so far is amazing. But also, you don't want the voice of Chucky playing Freddy. I think that's a little too close. I wouldn't count Jim out. He played Andy Kaufman as if he really were Andy Kaufman. Yeah, never broke. That's the thing. That's the thing. Caleb Landry Jones was in Ready or Not and Get Out. Okay. I don't know why I can't picture this guy. Caleb Landry Jones. And thanks for kicking it with me, guys. I know his name. Oh, yeah. What have I... Oh, this guy, he played Banshee in X-Men First Class. This guy is great. Yeah, I love his voice. I love his look. He's a redhead. Oh, this is a good one. Yes. Yes. I love this. He's 35 years old. He'll be 36 on December 7th. This is perfect. Who originally said that? I'm scrolling back up. Scratch Burno wins the stream, guys. Scratch Burno is the MVP of the stream. Yes. Caleb Landry Jones. Yes. Oh, I love this. That's what I'm talking about. This is what I'm looking for. This is why you guys are the best audience and community on YouTube. And this is why I say that I just MC the show. You guys, I try to steer us in a direction, but you guys are the crew of the ship. Yes. Caleb Landry Jones. I want to see this guy as Freddy. Yes. I can't stop thinking about it now. Well, we don't want Rowan to do everything now. I don't want to get sick of Rowan. I don't want Rowan to become the, what's his face? Chris Pratt of horror. I want Rowan to be the brooding character. I would actually like to see Rowan in a Scream movie where he plays a really good guy that isn't Ghostface. I'm ready for that. With Corey Cunningham, and then with, he plays kind of a jerky character in his bit role that's in The Monkey, and then of course Billy Chapman in the upcoming Silent Night Deadly Night. I would love to see Rowan in another horror movie where he actually does play a really sweet guy, go against the typecast. Ray Nicholson could do it too. Yeah, I think Ray Nicholson could play Freddy. Yeah, bringing in that good old nepo baby kind of thing for sure. Yeah. Finn Wittrock. I don't know who Finn Wittrock is. Let me see here. That's a crazy name, though. Finn Wittrock. Who's this guy? Who the hell are you? What have I seen him in? Nothing. Oh, he's in this Don't Move movie. I've heard really good stuff about that. He was in American Horror Story. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen this guy in anything. He's got... I'm not going to say he's too handsome to play Freddy, because you can always, the makeup is great. He's 40, so he's like, yeah, he's still in that wheelhouse. I'm digging Caleb Landry Jones's look overall. Again, I want not necessarily looking for someone that looks like Robert, but looking for somebody that has angular features. And he's got this wide mouth, this like big old Cheshire grin kind of Steven Tyler kind of, I think that could be a really good look. This one's got my money right now. This one's got my money. Yeah, fuck it. Just make Jack Nicholson Freddy. Fuck it. Is Jack Nicholson, did he retire? He might have retired. Let's see here. Didn't know that. Oh, too old. Does he have dementia? Jack Nicholson does? That's so sad. That's sad. Ding, 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 says Illuminated. Kurt Russell for Freddy. Kurt Russell for Dr. Loomis. How about that? Paul Giamatti for Dr. Loomis. How about that? Jeffrey Wright as Dr. Loomis. One of those three. He's in Twin Peaks: The Return. Oh, Jamie, how did you know that? You don't like Twin Peaks. You don't ever watch that show. Corey Feldman. That's too funny. Elle Fanning as Freddy Krueger. I just don't know. I just don't know. Idris as Freddy. Too old. Too old. I'm just. I'd love to see Idris in a horror movie though. I think he's a really good actor, man. Great voice, handsome, all that kind of stuff. He's up there in age. Again, guys, sometimes when we say these actors' names, and I'm not talking shit on anyone. I've done it too. You say this actor's name because you're thinking about a movie they made that was like 20 years ago. So like you say Idris, are you thinking like Prometheus Idris? It's like which version of Idris are we thinking of? And like Kevin Bacon, when people say Kevin Bacon, I'm like, what are you picturing him from Stir of Echoes from like 1999? Like, he looks a little different. Cooper Hoffman. No idea who Cooper Hoffman is. Let's see here. Is this Dustin Hoffman's kid? Oh, son of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah. I think his face is too big. Head's too big. He's only 22, so there's some potential. He's a little... I'm not going to say he's chubby. I don't think he's chubby. I just think the way he's built, his face is a little too round for Freddy, for me. That's just my own thing, though. Maybe he'd be great in the movie regardless, right? But just not as Freddy, if he's a good performer. Finn Wittrock is amazing. Okay. Lou Pucci, you talking about Lou Taylor Pucci from Evil Dead? How old's he? Because he does have a good look. He's amazing in Evil Dead 2013. He's 40. He is right there. And yes, this is the kind of, so him and Caleb Landry Jones. These are I want the sunken in cheeks. I want angular look. And it's just, this is just my idea of Freddy. And it's just my idea of like how the makeup could be utilized to create a really frightening Freddy that also reminds us of the Freddy Krueger from the 80s that we know and love. So yeah, I think Lou Taylor Pucci has the look, and he is still young enough that if they were able to make a movie within the next couple years, and he's not as big of a name, right? So, Evil Dead fans know who he is. I don't know, I see that he's been in some other stuff, but I've only seen him in the Evil Dead. So there you go. That's a really good one. That's a winner, Illuminated Pro. Skeet Ulrich, too old. He's already in Scream. Christopher Lloyd, Billy. Christopher Lloyd's too old. The dude who played Eddie Munson in Stranger Things. Oh, is that the guy from Joseph Quinn or whatever from Fantastic Four? Idris Elba was actually in the Prom Night remake. Not the best, but he's done horror. Yeah, I've never seen that one. I've heard it's terrible. Let's see here. I take Lou Pucci as Freddy. There you go. Loved him in Evil Dead. Yep. Amazing in Thumbsucker. I've heard of it. I've never seen it. Yeah. Kane Hodder. Too old. Too grumpy. Kane's too old to do. I mean, he can do the motion capture thing like he did with Jason and all that. Yeah. He's too like stout. He's not very tall. Kane isn't very tall. I think he and Robert are about the same height. But yeah, Kane is like a little bit wider. Okay, let's see here. Oh my gosh, we're at about an hour 45 here. It's 10 p.m. I gotta go for starting in 12 hours. I'm gonna be going for 10 hours straight, so I'm gonna save my voice, you guys. I also, for some reason I can't talk. I also have to run out and grab some groceries, so I have some things to eat during the stream tomorrow, so I can eat and drink during the stream. So I do have to say goodnight here, but thank you so much to everybody for kicking it with me here this evening on this sort of impromptu news coverage, talk about the big day tomorrow kind of stream. A huge shout out to our super chats. Today we had a 99.99er from Pumpkin King. Thank you so much, Pumpkin King. We had a Canadian $5 from Ray. Thank you, Ray. And a $5 super chat from Erica, one of our Death Squad mods and channel members. Thank you so much, Erica. Really appreciate you guys. So we didn't reach our goal. No worries, guys. We will try again. We got 3/5 of the way there, so almost, but not quite. You guys are amazing. I hope everybody can tune in for a little bit of the stream tomorrow. Heck, the longer you can tune in, if you're at work, just go ahead and put on the fundraiser stream, because the more watch time we get, the more it's going to pop up on people's front pages when they open up their YouTube. And maybe folks that don't watch the channel or have maybe only seen the channel a couple times, maybe they'll see it pop up. And yeah, we've got, let me just go over here and do this. There's another look at our schedule, guys. We are stacked. Horror, Evan from Rockland Graves, Curtin Jenks from Twisted Locker, Pizzowl, Cecil Laird from the Horror Show channel, Chris Stanley, Killjoy Jake, Vincent DeSanti of Womp Stomp Films, and Cody Leach. So a pretty awesome guest list for our fundraiser stream for the St. Mary's Food Bank tomorrow. There's the QR code on the screen if you'd like to donate a little bit early. That's cool too. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Thank you once again for kicking it with me. Make sure to hit that like button before you head out. Thank you so much to the Patreon members, YouTube channel members, and of course our amazing group of Death Squad mods. You guys are absolutely incredible. I love all of you so very much, and I'm looking forward to talking for 10 hours straight tomorrow. And I just made a mental note to get some cough drops or maybe some Jolly Ranchers. With you guys hate these Jolly Ranchers things that I love. Just a little something to suck on tomorrow to keep everything lubricated, if you know what I mean. How about it? All right, guys, you have all been amazing. Really appreciate you and love you guys so very much. But you know how this goes. Until next time, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.